We will be getting started here in about 2 minutes. Welcome to the call. Hello, this is Dover in Washington. We'll take last-minute introductions for the Enriching Gifts Education Call. As you join us, please tell us your name and where you're calling from so we can welcome you to the call. You may need to unmute yourself. And if not, that's okay. We'll keep a nice quiet call. We just want to say welcome to each and every one of you. All right, we'll get started here in about 30 seconds. We'll take last second introductions. This is the Enriching Gifts Education Call. It's Wednesday, March 3rd here in the US. And so we want to say welcome to each and every one of you. Anyone else before we get started, unmute yourself, say hello. And if not, we will get this show on the road. I know Ron's excited. We got a lot of great information that we're going to hear tonight. So, okay. Well, then with that being said, welcome to each and every one of you. And what a treat it is. I missed last week. I did listen to the recording and it was fantastic as always, Ron. So just thank you again for all that you do to pour into each and every one of us. Tonight, I'm excited. I heard ALOE and what separates us from the pack. And so I'm really looking forward to that. For those of you maybe listening in for the first time, or if this is your first time on the live call here, or catching the recording, this is the continuation of a series here at Enriching Gifts, where the formulator founder, Mr. Ron Schneider, who you'll be hearing from here shortly, is educating us all on a deep level, one that I haven't heard in years, and I've known him over a decade of my life. And so we're very fortunate. This call we do each and every Wednesday, and Ron really has been going into deep detail. So Ron, with that being said, I just want to say thank you. I'm glad to be back and appreciate you and really excited about the call. So welcome to the call, buddy.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me okay? This is good.
You're a little faint. You sound a little far away, a little muffled.
All right. That's what I'm trying to get. All right. Is this better?
Not.
Can you hear me better now?
Keep coming closer.
Oh, you can hear me good, right?
Absolutely. There. Welcome.
Okay. All right. So I've got both hands full and magnifying glasses and everything here, so I'll try to make this work. But anyway, Ron, I just want to welcome everybody. Yeah.
Would it be helpful if I pull up the ingredients label and then speak to it, and then you could go from there, so that way you don't have to read the label?
Well, no, I've got my magnifying glass right in front of me. I'm going to start out with the label. There's really only one ingredient because everything else, all the enzymes and the blend for the 270 count enzyme. So that's already in here. Don't really need to talk about that because we went over that with the enzyme. But I do want to talk about the 200-to-1 concentrate, the ALOE. That's what I want to focus on tonight. And of the 640 milligram blend, there's 500 milligrams of ALOE in this product. And you're going to be shocked when I start telling you the numbers, and maybe some of the people on here are pretty smart with numbers. You're going to be amazed at how fast and how far separated we are from every single ALOE company in the entire planet Earth. Nothing even going to come close. And so I'm going to go into that here real shortly. But no, I'm okay, Dover. So what I want to talk about is our ALOE Ace Max. And the fundamental premise of ALOE, it's nothing new. It really isn't. There's over 243 species of different aloe plants. Most of them come from regions of South Africa. A lot come from Peru, but most aloe originated from South Africa or on the continent of Africa. And there's some aloe plants that you can go down there. I've actually seen them. They're as much as 30, 40 feet high. They're huge. They're not little aloe plants like we have here in America. I mean, these things are massive. But anyways, we only use one single species of aloe, one out of 243. And over half of them are used in the dietary supplement and the nutritional industry, such as aloe juices and different aloe vera products for hair care, things like that. But we only use one single species, and I don't disclose that for proprietary reasons. But it is one of the very few plants, in fact, that we've only identified 2 others, so it's one of 3, that have a very high concentration of extra long. This is really important. Really remember this, because you're going to go out and start looking around in the aloe on the internet. It's going to be extremely important for you to find. So I use one of 3 plants that have very high concentrations of extra long branch chain polysaccharides. And remember, this is a 200-to-1 concentrate. So we're not just, what I'm going to talk about is just simple extract. And then we have the ability to concentrate that 200-to-1 times. And we're the only company out in the industry that has an extra long branch chain polysaccharide in any kind of concentration within our aloe product. And I'm going to get to specific numbers of the top 5 aloe growing companies in the world. But it's really important to understand the species we use has a very high concentration of extra long branch chain polysaccharides. Now, what a polysaccharide is, we talked about shark cartilage and Metabolic Complete just a couple weeks ago. And what the active tumor inhibiting property in Metabolic Complete comes from shark cartilage. And shark cartilage has polysaccharides, the same extra branch our aloe vera has. They're not identically the same because one comes from an animal, one comes from a plant. But they're both extra long branch chain polysaccharides, regardless of the source they come from. They're long chain, little tiny sugars. And that's why they call them branch chain. They're actually branched together in a very long chain. Usually what you're going to find in most aloe products, even the juices, and let me just explain something about aloe vera juice real quickly, because this is one of the things that really chapped my butt and put me traveling me all over the world again, just to verify the kind of quality and the ingredients that I was actually getting. Did you know that aloe vera juice can be labeled 100% aloe vera juice and be over 99.9% water? Because water has zero calories. And water has no main content of it, just pure water. So you can have 99.9% gallon juice of water, put in 0.1% aloe vera, and then you can call that 100% aloe vera juice. I'm telling you the truth, people. As sick as that sounds and as screwed up as it is, that's what happens out in the aloe industry. That's why I've literally just traveled to the nth degree to the largest companies at the ends of the earth to verify what we have in our product. And then on top of that, it's part of that $40 million testing of Enriching Gives products over the last 30 years. So one thing, and aloe, I'm going to go back, is nothing new. It's been around since, Cleopatra, way back in the Egyptian days, before Christ even. I mean, it's been here thousands of years, about 3,500 years to be exact. And it's known as the healing plant. It helps strengthen roots and hair products. It helps smooth your skin. It speeds up the damage of skin damage caused by sunburns and other injuries to the skin. And it does this because of the unique nature of its polysaccharide, its long, extra long branch chain. And then you're going to have within any species of aloe, short and medium branch chains of polysaccharides. Why is that important? Now, this is one of the key things everybody really needs to listen closely on. I don't like repeating this. It gets very complicated very quick, but I'm going to say it once. I'm going to say it slow so everybody can understand this. cellular membrane. That's where it interacts with enzymes as well as nutrition, and it resuscitates waste from most of those receptors. So think of it like a little hole inside of a ball, if you will. And why is that important? Because like I said, this is where nutrition interacts with the enzymes and intracellular membrane and activity of a living functioning cell. So those cell receptors, alpha and beta receptors, are critically important to get cell functioning at its optimum cellular genetic programming capability. A short chain and a medium chain, they're too small. The length of the chain isn't long enough to fit into all those little alpha and beta receptors along the entire membrane of any cell in the body. They only fill about 15 to 20% maximum, and that's the short and the medium branch chain polysaccharides. So in order to really get in your immune system cells, have the most alpha and beta receptors of any cell in the human body, even brain cells, even neurons, nerve tissue, all of that. Your immune system cells, your T lymphocytes, your eosinophils, basophils, all those kind of things. They have the most alpha and beta receptors of any cell in the human body. Now, why is that important to know? Because if you understand one of the healing benefits that you get because of using aloe products, whether it's fresh out of leaf or whether it's our concentrated aloe under the ALOE Max, one of the benefits you're going to get is that accelerated cell functioning. And the only way that that occurs is when you can actually have a polysaccharide chain long enough to interact and cover all the beta and alpha receptor sites along the entire membrane of any cell in the body. And the extra long branch chain polysaccharides are the only ones that will do that. Small, medium, and long branch chains, they just don't fill up. They'll do most other cells in the body, like your hair and your skin, things, but they're not going to interact with the immune system, not even close to the way our product does. This is really critical to understand, and I just described how we do it. Now let me explain why we're one of the very few companies, in fact, I am the only one, and I've taken and actually had my analysis, compared it to other 5 companies, and I'll give you their names in a second. And by the way, these analyses were done at the exact same company, the International ALOE Science Council. You send it in, they analyze it, and then they send you back their seal, the International ALOE Science Council seal. And you'll see that on the front of our aloe booklet. You don't see it on the front of the product anywhere, but we do have it in our booklet. We do have it approved, and I get it from the same facility each time we produce an aloe batch. But it's really important to understand what we have versus what everybody else has. Now, I want everybody to write down 200 to 1, because this is going to blow your mind, but it's going to answer the very hardest question that you will never believe that that's even possible until you start adding in 200 to 1. 2 times more or 200 times more than any other company out there. So let me give you the exact test that I'm talking about. So the International Science Council was established all the way back in 1996 or 95 because so many companies were just adding simple sugars to increase the polysaccharide count of their product. And that's the liquid aloe industry. Pretty crappy, pretty misleading, and they just produce crap products at best. So this council was created in order to ensure the quality from the aloe industry and put back integrity into labeling laws and requirements, and especially labeling integrity so when a consumer reads it, what they're reading is in that bottle, not 99.9% water or something else other than aloe. So what the International ALOE Science Council was established, now they actually evaluate products, companies, and things of the like in the aloe industry worldwide. That seal is really important. That says that product has been completely analyzed, and it's now certified by the International ALOE Science Council to meet the label claims that you're reading on the label. And that's the only industry standard and analytical company that will certify any aloe product, regardless of where it comes from, what country it's in, or wherever. And if you don't see that seal in the marketing or on the product, I wouldn't buy an aloe product. I just wouldn't have anything to do with it. because I know the history of it 25, 30 years ago, it was garbage. And there's still a lot of garbage on the store shelves today. I see it all the time, and I just shake and roll my head and roll my eyes. So that's why that was established. Now let me get into the ALOE. So the 5 companies that I compared myself to, and like I said, we all had our analysis done, and they're not going to sit there and publish on their websites and in their marketing material their second or third or fourth best. They're going to have the absolute highest that they can go back and reference and prove there was an independent analysis for the polysaccharide content of their product. The top 5 companies in the world outside of Enriching Gifts that distributes an aloe-based product is Forever Living, the world's largest distributing aloe company in the world. Then you have that network marketing company called Manitech, and the company that supplies Manitech with their product is Carrington Laboratories. And then you have the largest grower in the United States of aloe for aloe manufacturing of products is ALOE Commodities down in DeSoto, Texas. And then you have this really funny, screwed up company right from the jump-go, and it's a network marketing company. It's called Zango with the xanthones. Let me be very clear. There's no such thing as a xanthone. You will not find it in any biochemical reference guide that relates to earthly elements or scientific elements on the planet Earth. It's a made-up term. But what they're really describing is a polysaccharide. And it's from a Zango fruit, I guess is what it's from, which would explain, okay, it's a long-chain sugar, much like an aloe, fruit, sugar, it all adds up. But of the crazy thing in the top 5 outside of Enriching Gifts, Zango had the highest polysaccharides per dose over the other 4 companies. They had a polysaccharide of 24,500 polysaccharides per dose. And by the way, that was a capsulated product as well. They do have a liquid, but it was a capsulated product that this was done with. So there they are, Zango at 24,500. Then you drop all the way down to 19,800, and that's Carrington Laboratories. Remember, Carrington Laboratories is the supplier of the network marketing company, Manitech. And why there's a difference there from 19,800 all the way down to 17,600, there's almost 2,000 difference there from an actual finished product and the Manitech, it's called Manipul Gold under the Manitech label. And then next comes ALOE Commodities, the largest grower of aloe and manufacturer of aloe products in the United States. They were down at 12,900. And the largest distributing aloe company in the world came in dead last, number 5, and they were just over 10,000 polysaccharides per dose. Now, what did I say the range was? A little over 10,000. The highest was 24,500 Zango per dose. Independently, all analyzed by the exact same facility, the International Aloe and Science Council. And on that particular assay that I compared mine to within the same month that everybody else was done, mine came out at 759,000 polysaccharides per dose. The worst assay I've ever had of all the years that I've been producing aloe. Not the absolute best, well, the numbers look good. It's the worst assay I've ever had. 750,000 plus. And the next closest competitor on the entire planet Earth to our product is Zango at 24,500. Now, how can that possibly be? Well, if you take it, that's their best, that's their raw material, that is no concentrate, that's the best they can do. And then we have our 200 to 1. Well, if you take 24,000 times 100, or even 10, what is that? 240,000. Let's just round it up, 245. Or even 250,000. I'm still 3 times that. So I'm 30 times more potent in the polysaccharide length in the chain than any other company on the planet. That's the very next closest one is Zango, 24,500. I'm at over 750,000. And that's my worst assay. My normal and is over 1 million, and my average is almost 1.6 million. That's the average. And you're going to have a sliding scale because you're dealing with a living nutrient. I know I'm going to get asked this question. Well, geez, if you're saying that they have, such a big sliding difference, why do yours slide up and down by almost half? Because you're dealing with a living nutrient. But I can tell you that I'm over 1 million every single other time other than the one I wanted to compare to. And rather than grabbing my highest, which will even make me more ridiculously different than everybody else, I compared my lowest. But you can see how ridiculous it is to even try to compare any aloe product on this planet to what we have in our ALOE Max. Now let me explain to you why that is so achievable. Because there's one dirty little stinking secret that the entire aloe industry doesn't want to talk about, they don't want to acknowledge, and they certainly don't want the consumers to find out about it either, because boy, it makes them look really good. But the dirty little secret is, everybody talks and brags about how high quality they can produce their product. Why? Oh, because it gets from the plant, from the time we were to take it from the plant, from the time it's actually in the bottle and sealed, is usually less than 8 to 10 hours, or they'll say the same day. Wow, that's fast. Wow, cut it, manufacture it, put it in a bottle, and it's already labeled in less than 24 hours. Well, because they're committed to quality. Absolutely nothing but quality. And in order to have the quality in the product, you have to be able to manufacture it that fast. Well, let me explain the dirty little secret that nobody wants to talk about out in the aloe industry. It has to be done in less than 8 hours. Because the minute you take that leaf off of that trunk or that vine of the aloe plant, there's an enzyme that immediately activates and it starts breaking and digesting apart that extra long branch chain polysaccharide. And literally in less than 4 hours, over 75% of all the polysaccharides are broken down to small chain polysaccharides. That's why you got to have so much material to even get up to 24,500 per dose and those lesser amounts by all those other companies. And the reason that Enriching Gifts can do this, because I worked with the #1 aloe guy in the industry way back in 1992. I actually analyzed his blood in Phoenix, Arizona, and his name is Dr. Ivan Danhoff. And I'll never forget him because he has a really distinct nasal kind of a drip conversation. He has some nasal problems when he breathes and sneezes, and that's kind of the way he talks. And that's how I remember him. But he and I worked together for a long time at Arizona Desert Manufacturing, because he was in there trying to get an aloe product put together about a year and a half after I was already in there with the enzymes and stuff. And I said, you want to know how to make an aloe product really work good? Put it in with my digestive enzymes. And that's what we ended up doing. And as we started working together, we were able to share technologies. And one of the things there is I developed an enzyme blocker. It's actually a solution. You can squeeze it or inject it into the aloe plant, and you leave it go, and you put it in at the root, and you put in, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 ounces of it anyway. But it goes in throughout that whole tree, and it's a tree. It's, like I said, some of that stuff's 30, 40 feet high. But that solution actually will get in, and it will inhibit. It literally binds to and inhibits that enzyme that when you cut that leaf, starts digesting apart all the extra long and medium chain polysaccharides within that leaf. In fact, I can cut the leaf a week after we put the solution in, lay it on the table, come back to it 2 weeks later, sample immediately as it's cut, because as you know, when you cut it, you got that sap, so you got an immediate sample. We can come back 2 weeks later, still squeeze out the sap, remove the outer rind, get the sap, analyze it. We still have 100% intact, extra long branch chain polysaccharides. And the species that I use have the longest branch chain polysaccharides that's ever been identified in an aloe plant. And that's the only source and the product that has an intact, extra long branch chain polysaccharide that will actually be long enough to interact with all alpha and beta receptor sites. All sites are filled at the same time. So now you have full function functionality claims and all the nutrient activation that goes on with any cell within the human body. Because every single cell has a polysaccharide alpha and beta site, sugar receptors. Your brain, especially your brain, everybody talks about what a great memory I have. Man, that guy's better than any elephant that anybody ever met. Does he ever forget anything? Very rarely. And Dover knows this for a fact too. And one of the reasons why I have such a great memory, I don't have all of those other recall products that you see on TV and the crazy professor with the white hair and all that other stuff. Prevagen is one of them. I don't need some seafood oyster that has an enzyme that improved, but no, it's all done with my vitamin product and my aloe vera product. And the cells have some of the most alpha and beta receptors outside of the immune system. Brain cells and neurons have the next ones, and neurons are directly involved in memory. So that's where I get my great memory from. Everybody gets to know the secret now. And I have a 93.7% photographic memory. And I never had that when I was a kid, I guarantee you. Never even had that in my 20s. So I have often wondered, where in the heck do I get this crazy memory? I just never forget anything. And that's where I get it from. Because I wasn't tested for any of that until after I started taking my enzymes and stuff with a company in 1988. That's when my brain really took off and started to function. And I just couldn't forget anything. Blessing and a curse at the same time. But that's why the aloe product that we have under the ALOE Max, that's why we're able to get those really tremendous healing benefits. In fact, we've got some broken bones, ankles, knees, and elbows from different athletes and stuff. And there was a rehabilitation clinic down there on Bell Road that Jim Rossani and Jim Mayer used to run. And what they did is the athletes from colleges and high school would come in, and that would be their rehabilitation clinic that they go through. And they started using this stuff and said, wow, do you know this stuff heals people in about 70% faster? And I said, well, that's good, but what's the benefit? He said, are you crazy? You're going to eliminate the potential for a re-break. If it's a fracture, you're going to speed it up and get rid of any potential infection in the wound and stuff. It heals so fast. And I mean, there's been people like John Fisher down in Florida. He had open heart surgery, and literally in 2-3 years, you couldn't even ever see he had a scar. I had a scar from my broken back, and it goes all the way from right below my left breast all the way down to my groin, where they had to lay me open and do some back work on. And you can't even see the scar. It's completely gone too. So it helps long terms with scars and stuff, but the main thing you're going to get is it really speeds up the healing or the cellular reproductive rate of the human body. Now, let me repeat that again. It's going to speed up the cellular reproductive rate, the ability of the body to reproduce cells from a diseased or diminished state to a healthy state, a new cell. It can do that 2.7 times faster than your body can do it on its own or with any other nutrient. 2.7 times fast, that's almost 300% faster healing. So that's what I wanted to talk about, why I was so excited to talk about this tonight. And Dover's right. I have never gone into nearly as great a detail as I have this evening. And for anybody that wants to talk about aloe and all the benefits and stuff, we actually have a special report. Revolutionary breakthrough and latest technology provides a superior product. ALOE Max is a booklet. And I'm holding it in my hand. And if you take the booklet, it's 16 pages long from front to back. And the back just kind of has some highlights, 17. In the very, very back, it has an old order form. So please don't use that because it is old. I think that one goes all the way back to the 1990s sometime. But outside of that, I mean, we have these booklets that we try to give out to people. First time in the aloe industry, a product with seals of approval certified organic and kosher. We also have the International Aloe and Science Council seal, certified raw materials certified by the International Aloe and Science Council, certified organically grown and organic quality, grown and issued by the Quality Assurance International and Texas Department of Agriculture. Remember, I told you I got it from Aloe Commodities, the largest grower of aloe products or plants in the U.S. out of DeSoto, Texas. So this is also certified by the Texas Department of Agriculture. It is certified kosher by Dallas Kosher. So again, it also provides 200 bioactive components, including 20 essential amino acids. Now, how many times have you ever heard me talk about amino acids outside of our amino acid product? Now, this isn't near as big of a capsule, and it's only 500 milligrams, but that's 500 milligrams that has a lot, 20 essential amino acids. There's only 21 essential amino acids ever been identified to function as nutrient activators for enzymes in the human body. So you get everything but one from a single source. And again, just more nutrition in a much more highly concentrated form, and it just goes crazy. So, and I'm going to read this caption because it kind of covers the last of what I was just talking about. Totally new, exceeds all previously known aloe products with much higher concentrations of the longest polysaccharide chain, from anywhere between 12,500 up to the 24,000 I was telling you about with those other companies, up to 2 million from the aloe plant. And remember, there's 243 different aloe plants. That's why I didn't put in a specific plant, because that is just going to keep me way out in the front to where I should be, and I will always be way ahead of anybody in the aloe industry. So that's right out of the booklet here. And I believe, Dover, don't we have this up on the internet under the Enriching Gifts archives? I'm pretty sure we do, but that's all I was going to say about the aloe. And the other thing I wanted to say is 2 capsules of ALOE Max is equal to or greater than 64 ounce of aloe juice. And that's not hard to understand. We did that direct comparison. 2 capsules has more polysaccharides than 64 ounces of aloe juice. Well, how can that possibly? Because like I said, pure 100% aloe juice can be labeled 100% aloe juice and still only have 1/10 of 1%. Everything else is water. That's why they can do that, and that's why we can claim that. So I'm going to go ahead and close it out for some questions. And again, these are all certified organic, organically grown, certified organic ingredients. It's endorsed by and certified by Dallas Kosher, Quality Assurance International, Texas Department of Agriculture, and last but not least, the International Aloe and Science Council seal. So, Dover, you want to go ahead and open it up for questions, and we'll get this party started.
Absolutely. Let's get it started. And Ron, just a quick testimonial. Leilani's father had knee surgery back in January, I think it was. And
yeah,
he was literally like 3 weeks ahead of schedule for his recovery. And the only thing he did was take the ALOE Max. So he's a big believer. Yep. His pain was minimal throughout, and he swears by it now. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. But yes, anybody who have a
appreciate it.
Yeah, a question or a comment,
yeah,
please.
I just wanted to say, Tom Mano and I worked with Jim Mayer and Jim Rosanio at that rehabilitation clinic, because they had a lot of power lifters that Tom referred in there as well. And they just couldn't believe it. After the first year they were there, they were number one therapeutic rehabilitation for all surgeries from all hospitals down in Phoenix, Arizona, because they're fast healing. Medical people couldn't figure out, what are these guys doing different? How can they get these great fast results as opposed to our medical rehab that we do here, therapy rehab and stuff in our hospital? It's just a huge game changer. Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, great stuff. Unmute yourself if you have a question or comment for Ron. Don't be shy. Anyone with a question or a comment?
I have a quick question here. If in the meantime, yes. So Ron, how you doing? Sanj here. Quick question in regards to quick question, Ron, in regards to what's the best way to decalcify the pineal gland?
Okay, so that has something outside of this, but here I'm just turning to a page, talk about stupid luck, the blood-brain barrier.
Yes.
This is a tight seal of cells that lines the blood vessels in the brain. Very few substances can cross through the blood-brain barrier. As I talked about, white pine bark has one of those unique opportunities in an antioxidant, and so does aloe, because of its extra long branch chain. It can actually fit in a wrap in and around to open those barrier cells up. And that's one of the reasons why it can do that. But anyway, getting back to calcification, and this doesn't have much of an antioxidant benefit, but there are antioxidant benefits in the aloe, but I don't want to get confused that. It's nowhere near the red algae. It's nowhere near the metabolic complete. But calcification has to use oxidation before it can actually calcify, which means to harden, and then it can build up and accumulate. So again, one of the best ways that you're going to be able to prevent all of that calcification, no matter where it occurs in the body, is with the heart algae and the metabolic complete. That's the best, because now you're in a preventative. You're actually able to prevent and almost completely, definitely slow it way down in the calcification or hardening process. Because remember, nothing can accumulate in the body until it's solidified. Once it's solidified, then the tissues of your arteries, your veins, some of your organs, it's soft enough where they get lodged right into the tissue, so they stick because they're hard. It's like driving a nail into wood. The only reason you can drive that nail into wood is because the nail is so hard. And it's the same thing with plaque or whatever kind of calcification is building up and accumulating. The way to slow it down is always going to be antioxidants. Your body produces an enzyme called superoxide dismutase. That is an antioxidant enzyme your body naturally produces to counteract and neutralize oxidation from our use of oxygen every time we take a breath. But the body has an ability to counteract that. It does not have the ability to counteract pollutants, chemicals, pesticides, all the other things, drugs, all the other kind of things that would come in that would actually also play a role in oxidation. Because there's a lot of things that can cause oxidation. Free radical damage is the first one. And there's two forms of oxidation that usually the body goes through when it uses oxygen. And in order to properly use oxygen, that second phase is the real bad one, because that's where it steals the molecule from the oxygen. Now it becomes a free radical or extremely oxidizing element. It's an unstabilized oxygen molecule, is the most oxidizing of all oxidants known. But chemicals can be oxidants, preservatives can be oxidants, coloring agents can be oxidants. Like I said, there's a whole host of oxidants that'll actually cause oxidation.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Now back to the aloe. Can the aloe also be used anytime topically on a like directly on a cut?
Absolutely. You got a sore tooth. We were talking about this the other day. You got a sore tooth and stuff. Take about 3 aloe capsules, take it out, put it in with some colloidal silver, swish it around in your mouth for about 2-3 minutes, and that pain instantly goes away from that toothache.
Wow.
And the infection in your root of your tooth and your jaw and stuff, literally you do that 2-3 times and it's gone. It's gone. Unless it's a real bad loose tooth where it's loose, wiggled back and forth when you chew or something, so it's constantly being irritated. But otherwise, aloe's amazing stuff. So is that colloidal silver. But the main thing to remember about the aloe, the extra long branch chain polysaccharides. And we talked about the Steromax, how we can enlarge the immune system, how we can increase its size by up to 5-6 times larger, increase the nuclear material within the larger membrane, up to 400% more nuclear material. And as a result of both of those, you can actually increase the efficiency of functioning by up to 759% more efficient overall functioning of the human T lymphocyte. And that's the immune system cell that destroys your cancer, HIV, AIDS cells, and any infected cells that's damaged. Your T lymphocytes literally dissolve it enzymatically. So when you think about healing, after you get rid of all those damaged cells and everything else, well, boy, this will help your body replace it to where it doesn't even know that it's even being damaged or replacing damage. There's just really not much deterioration at all. And again, it actually interacts with all the beta and alpha receptors on those more complex immune system cells. So we know that we can increase the efficiency because we've eliminated the immune complexes that get stuck in those alpha and beta receptors. But we've also added in this extra long branch chain polysaccharide. So if you've got a huge built up immune system, you keep your bloodstream clean with the digestive enzymes. So that can do what it's designed to do, but you can even improve it and make it even much stronger just by putting ALOE into your daily diet as well. And I'm going to say something that most people may or may not disagree with me or agree with me, but I don't think there's one single factor outside of the digestion of your meal that's more important than a super, super strong immune system that functions efficiently. That's the second most important factor in your life and that will ever be to your health. You got the enzymes to act, or nutrients from the digestive process to activate the enzymes to carry out cell functioning. Second most important thing is you need protection. And anything you can do to raise and improve the strength and overall functionality of the human immune system is nothing but a huge plus. And ALOE is one of those things that will have a huge impact even beyond what the Steromax does, which is just incredible all by itself. And I always say there's no such thing as overdoing it. I've been an overdoer, whether I'm building my training center, building my garage, building this, building that. I'm always going to overdo it to the nth degree because it'll still be standing here 200 years later when everything else around it is falling apart. And the body is no different. That I realized a long time ago, decades ago, this is the only body I have to live whatever life I'm going to live with. And by gosh, I want a great life because I had such a hard childhood. All I did was work. So I want a body that's going to last me long enough to where I'm getting into the years like I am today, where I can slow down, relax and enjoy life in comfort. And I wanted to have the health to do that. So many people get to this age, but they just don't have the health. They got the money, they got the this, they got the time. They just don't have the health anymore. And that's sad because so much of that stuff can be prevented. And you got nothing but great health all the way into your 90s and 100s or however long your genetic programming is. So, and Dover, did you say we did have this up on the website, the booklet?
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, it's around.
Okay.
It is.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. So everyone wanted to read the booklet, just go to enrichinggifts.com and the archives, and you should be able to find that along with the plant enzyme booklet as well.
That's correct.
So does anybody have any questions? Anybody else? Susan, are you on here tonight, Susan Hunter? I know she's always got questions. Nope, must not have made it on here again. But anyways, yeah, if you're on mute, just unmute yourself and just please chime in and ask any question you want. Because I know there was a lot. It's not that complicated, but there is a lot in just a little bit of time here. And some of that stuff is real finite specific that I want everybody to remember. Because it's what sets us apart, so far apart than any other aloe product on this planet. Nothing is even going to come close. Because that blocker, that enzyme blocker technology is proprietary and it's patented worldwide. We're the only company that has it. So just wanted everybody to understand where and how that all kind of came about and how that all works. So Dover, you have anything left for the call or anybody else have any questions, comments? I'm going to shut up.
Yes, Ron. Roderick here.
Yes.
Can we talk about diminishing returns again? How much can we take before it's just too much, before we lose effectiveness?
How much can you take before you lose effectiveness?
Yeah, sometimes.
I don't think you can take too much aloe because it's a natural plant-based product. Same way with the algae. The algae, you can take too much of that because it has such tremendously high antioxidant property to it. But to have too many aloes, polysaccharides in the body, I don't think you could ever have too many because the body uses them up fairly quickly.
So if I have cardiovascular disease, which I might, and I want to take.
I would just tell you right now, Roderick, nobody should ever use or need more than 6 of these per day, because these surgeries, these broken bones, that rehabilitation clinic I was talking about over on Bell Road in Phoenix, Jim Rossani and Jim Mayer, nobody ever used more than 6 of these capsules a day, and they got all those great healing benefits and stuff. But the answer is, I don't think you could take too much, but you shouldn't need any more than 6 per day.
Okay, that's my answer. Thank you so much.
I kind of thought it would be. Yeah, this is safe to take a lot, but nobody should ever need that much. And you know, when you talk about healing, I just had a conversation today with someone that called me asking about macular degeneration. Nerves, the macular nerve, by the way, it's a nerve, it's not some tissue. It's the macula of the eye is a nerve. Nerve tissue is the slowest growing tissue in the entire human body. Now, how many people actually know of people under the age of 35 that have macular nerve degeneration, have eyesight problems? No, that's an old person's disease. Why would it be so prevalent in older people over the age of 60 versus virtually unknown to anybody under the age of 20? Because of the digestive deficiencies that every person loses 8 to 10% of their ability to produce enzymes for the digestion of their daily meals. So by the time you're in your 60s and your 70s, you've already lost 80% or more. There are no amino acids getting to the macular nerve for the body to use as nutrition to activate and regenerate the nerve with. It's just not there. So ALOE would be one of those wonderful products to add to speed up the reproductive rate of the slowest growing tissue in the entire human body, nerves. And that could actually improve a person's eyesight if they had any kind of surgery, or if they're actually losing their eyesight. And this person happened to be 81 years old. And they said, is there anything they can do? And I said, yeah, that's a deficiency of 3 amino acids. Get on my enzymes, you'll put over 750%, 525% and 723% more branched chain and freeform amino acids actually in the blood cell system, so the cells are able to use it. 500 to 700% more just by using the digestive enzymes. Then you throw in the ability to reproduce once the cells have the enzyme or the nutrients to activate in cellular functioning. Then you throw in the ALOE, and that reproduces 2.7 times faster than any other nutrient, including amino acids from your digested meal of protein. That's how you heal such impossible things like macular degeneration as a senior person over 60, 70 years old. I'm not saying it's going to do it 100% of the time. I'm just saying it's absolutely the best possible chance you as an individual has at healing the macular nerve. You're not going to do it with a drug. The only thing they can do is do an operation. And even then, you really don't have much success at reversing it. You just kind of slow down the deterioration of it by opening up larger blood vessels to that macular nerve. Carries more oxygen and nutrients, but they're not going to reverse it typically.
Hey, Ron, this is Linda. I have a quick question.
Well, hi there, Linda. Go ahead.
Yes. Some of our children have bad teeth, like they have, my son just had some cavities fixed today or filled.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you
that too.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Teeth are one of those genetic inherited things.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
who has
they get
bad
it from
teeth?
their dad.
You or Roy? Right.
Yeah, Roy.
Exactly. You can always. I get mine from my father. He had really, really strong teeth, and I could literally flip open beer cans and all kinds of crazy stuff, bottle caps with my teeth and never chip them or anything. But that's definitely one of those hereditary things. There aren't many of those, but that is definitely one of them. And unfortunately, if you got that, it's very hard. Like I always tell people, once you're born, your genetic coding is already set. And you can never have more than what the parents were able to give you. So if they couldn't give you great genetics that'll give you great teeth, well, then you're just never going to be able to have it no matter what you take. But again, I don't want to discourage you, but aloe helps your body in all tissues, whether it's bone tissue for teeth or bones. It helps to accelerate that of growing new tissues and stuff. And if you got bad inherited teeth, there are some nutrients for teeth. Calcium's one of them. Vitamin D3 is another one. But you also have to have the hygiene too, brushing a little bit more often than you probably would have to normal. Keep your gums clean.
Helps too, I've noticed. Yeah. But I just thought maybe that's another thing. But calcium could be helpful, unless. Yeah, but a couple of our children just have more, cavities and stuff.
Yep, and it's just that inherited factor.
Yeah, Roy really probably gets from him, I'm sure.
Yep, it's the way your body uses calcium to actually form the bone tissue and the teeth. You can give it all. You can take 5 people, 3 of them have perfect pearly teeth, and 2 of them have cavities everywhere. And you can give them the exact same diet, same supplements. I've actually read a study that's comparable to this. And the people that have the perfect teeth are only going to still have the perfect teeth. The people that have the rotted teeth, it didn't improve their rotted teeth much at all. They had to go outside of just the nutritional thing and start doing better hygiene, more frequent brushing, more oral rinsing with alcohol type of product, things of that nature. That actually did improve the teeth because, again, what really happens is people that have bad teeth typically have a weakened immune system as well. And there's a lot of bacteria that actually chews away at that enamel. Brushing and stuff, and just poor bone development in general, that's the inherited factor you have. So you don't have that real thick enamel. That wears away fairly early on in life. And then that just accelerates the bacteria that gets in there and just starts dissolving your gums, dissolving your enamel, dissolving your tooth root, all that stuff. It just starts decaying it. And that's
and I've heard if you're acidic, that could be a factor
accelerates
too.
Everything.
Yeah.
It does not can be. It is a factor. And that's the other inherited factor you have. Your body has a very high protease enzyme production. So therefore you eat a lot of meat. And in order to activate protease enzymes, your body has to produce a lot of acid. So typically the people that have bad teeth are also going to run highly acidic. And that acid actually is the perfect environment to house and create a nice, comfortable home for all that acidic bacteria.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, there are several factors involved in that, but I don't want to mislead you or anybody else in saying, take the calcium, all of a sudden you're going to have great teeth. You're just going to be so hard to overcome bad genetics. And that is one of those real strong genetically linked conditions from person to person, generation to generation. You either have great teeth or you don't. There's really not a whole lot you can do about it. Unless you do like Roderick, and somewhere down the line, I'll eventually get it done. You just go tear out the old ones and just have a whole bunch of brand new veneers or implants put in.
That'd be
you don't have to worry about it. Yeah. Well, that's what so many people are turning to. Yeah. It's pretty expensive process, but just depends on how great you want to look with your teeth and how functional they are at really chewing food and giving you nutrition. Because I'll tell you, nothing worse than bad teeth. They fall out, they're missing a lot, or they're wiggling around your mouth so you don't chew and amalgamate properly. Those are real health issues. I mean, they can eventually carry over into brain cancer, heart attacks, strokes, all kinds of contributing disease factors. Oral health is probably just about as important as getting good, proper enzymes to digest your meals, because that can really compromise your health down the road. And Roderick, he can tell you about that. But I mean, I've just met a lot of people, and I've spent a lot of time in the Amish community, Mennonites, and it's not just there; it's in mainstream America too, because all the sugars and the soft drinks in the schools and in the grade schools. Sugar is a major decaying factor. So you have poor genetics, and then you have poor hygiene, and then you have poor diet. Well, that's a perfect recipe for just a perfect disaster.
Yeah.
Early on in life, not real late in life. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well,
but that's
thank
the
you.
honest answer. Hopefully that helps you out.
Yeah. I'm sure it sure did. Thanks.
Okay. Great. You betcha. Anybody else have any questions, comments on the call? Anybody?
Yeah, Ron, this is Shelley, and I do have a question. Would aloe help
Hi
with
there.
osteopenia or osteoporosis?
Yeah, let me, well, what did we just say that it does? Osteoporosis is a curvature of the spine because of lack of calcium and accelerated oxidation. And why does it actually stay that way? One, this occurs in older people. The same deficiency of enzymes to get digestion done properly, of proteins to get amino acids for bone tissue and all the tissues that make up the human body. By the way, just so everybody knows this, every single tissue in the human body is made from amino acids and other nutrients. But all tissues require amino acids. And those only come from one place. Your body doesn't make amino acids. Your body uses amino acids from the protein in your meal. When you break protein down through full digestion, what you have left over is about 19 to 21 branch chain, long branch chain, and medium to short branch chain polysaccharides. It's actually called freeform and branch chain. Those are the two categories of amino acids: freeform amino acids and branch chain amino acids. And all amino acids are actually branch chain to some degree. They're chained together. So yeah, it would absolutely help with that. Because you're accelerating the cell to replace older damaged cells much, much faster, up to almost 300% faster. So when you think about healing then how do you heal? You have to cellularly reproduce healthy cells to replace the old damaged ones. So anytime you can accelerate that process of reproduction, you're going to help significantly whatever you're trying to accomplish.
Okay, thank you. That helped a
You
lot.
bet. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, these bone injuries and stuff that they did over at that rehabilitation clinic with Jim, Rosanny and Mayer, they were only able to achieve that because of that real rapid turnover of healthy cells to replace the dying off damaged bone tissue cells from the injury. And that was all digestive enzymes and aloe and the metabolic complete. Those are the three main products we use for rehabilitation.
Say those again.
The digestive enzymes, the metabolic complete was our choice antioxidant at the time. And then, but I would, if I had to do it all over today, I would actually use the heart algae, the digestive enzymes, and the ALOE smacks. That's your trifecta right there for healing anything in the human body. Okay. Anything that has to be healing, whether it's injury related or anything else, digestive enzymes, the heart algae, and ALOE smacks. Perfect combination for accelerating the healing process.
Thanks.
You're very welcome. Anybody else have any questions, comments? Anybody? Good call tonight, everybody. I really appreciate the people that are coming on and asking these questions because this is really important. This is one of those fundamental products that is a game changer in your life, just like enzymes, just like the Steromax. They will literally change the way you live out the health and quality of your life.
One more question, Ron, in regards to the aloe here. I was just reading the booklet, and I came across the statement where it says the aloe helps with regulating blood sugar. How exactly does that do that?
Absolutely. Well, think about this. It's a polysaccharide. Okay, but you got to go back to the health of the cell. What does excess blood glucose do to the human body?
Basically,
why is too much blood glucose? Why is too much blood glucose harmful to a diabetic person? What is a diabetic person that's been there 10, 20 years? What eventually happens to all diabetic persons when they can no longer produce insulin to manage blood glucose?
Well, nerve damage.
They get gangrene tissue and you start amputating body parts because literally blood glucose dissolves circulatory vessels, arteries, and veins. It dissolves tissues of the brain. It dissolves tissues throughout the entire body. It literally breaks it down through fermentation. You got enough bad bacteria circulating in the blood. The minute you throw large amounts of sugar, which blood glucose is, Then you got this huge overgrowth of bacteria that just constantly just chews away and breaks down the tissues of the human body to the point to where you can no longer circulate blood, oxygen, or remove waste from the extremities, either your hands, your feet, and toes. So when that happens, your tissue turns black and you start chopping off body parts and limbs and everything else, because otherwise that infection just gets horrific and it'll just run throughout the blood system, affecting the entire body. So they get literally, you can't do anything with the infection. You got no more circulation of blood. So let's go back to the simple question you asked. So how can aloe help with that? What did I just tell you it does? So blood glucose is destroying your tissues, which need to be replaced with healthy tissues in order to function. So by taking the aloe, you're able to actually help reproduce healthy cells that are going to replace the dying off, decomposing tissues. That's how it helps with diabetics.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
If you can just say that one more time.
Okay, I'm going to say it real slowly. In order for you to understand how aloe vera helps with a diabetic person or anybody with diabetes, or pre-diabetes, the way it helps is you have to understand the role of blood glucose first. Blood glucose, excess of blood sugar, literally decomposes through fermentation all tissues in the human body, especially your arteries and veins that carry all nutrients, all blood, all oxygen, and remove waste from cellular functioning and metabolism. When those start to dissolve and get holes in them and stuff, you can no longer circulate blood. So they have to be, how do you heal them? You can't heal them. You have this real high level of glucose. So the only thing you can do is reproduce a healthy cell to actually replace the damaged, dying, deteriorating cell that's been damaged because of excessive glucose. Aloe vera is not going to run insulin. It's not going to lower your blood glucose levels. But what it does do is it enables you to speed up the healing process, so you're not going to deteriorate as fast. In fact, you'll deteriorate about 75% less.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
So that's how it helps with the disease diabetes. It actually gives your body the ability to heal itself for all the damage that the excess of blood glucose is doing. So you can still live out a pretty healthy life without having to worry about amputations and things like that. But it's not going to get rid of the disease or the condition, diabetes. The only thing that gets rid of that is insulin. Because why blood glucose elevates in the blood is because your body can't chemically produce a higher amount of insulin, which changes the chemistry of the blood, which opens up the receptors of your muscle tissue. Muscle tissue is the most active tissue in the human body. It's always looking for some kind of an energy source, and sugar is the most readily available energy source for muscle tissue metabolism as well as maintenance. Maintain your muscle tissue. And that's what blood glucose breaks down the fastest and the easiest is muscle tissue. That's why diabetics, typically you see them way overweight, they're fat, they don't have much muscle tissue or much strength. And that's because the blood glucose just dissolves and chews away at the muscle tissue of the body. And it literally just deteriorates like putting acid on metal. Doesn't take very long and decomposed about 70% of it. And we're talking years, not months, but it does happen. So the only way to counteract that is aloe product is not any kind of a hormonal precursor or inducer. So we can't get our body to produce more insulin with aloe unless it's the pancreas is being damaged and the tissues, the alpha and beta receptors that release insulin are damaged. You could actually speed up the healing of the pancreas, which is then going to get you back to a healthy state of functioning and increase the insulin output because you have a healthier organ now to function with. But how do we make the pancreas healthier to get more insulin released through the cellular reproductive rate of damaged tissue? And that's what the aloe does. So that's how it does affect the diabetes. It has a big influence on a diabetic. Anybody that's diabetic should be taking 2 to 3 aloe capsules every single day. And then eating a higher protein diet when that glucose spikes. because beef flesh protein is going to use up all the calories in the protein source. Plus, it's going to go to stored fat. But we don't have to go to stored fat. We got excess of glucose just circulating in the blood. So all we have to do, and this is how your body manages it when it's healthy and the pancreas is healthy, is it releases insulin. Insulin changes the chemistry of the blood and causes muscle tissue receptors to open up, suck out the blood glucose, and use it for cellular metabolism of that fast, active, functioning tissue we call muscle tissue. That's how that whole process works in a nutshell. So if you didn't get that, go back and listen to this call. Because this does get complicated. I try to keep it as simple as possible. Some people, I used to be one of those people, you had to repeat it to me 4 or 5 times. But once I got it, you couldn't get it out of my head. Now I don't even need it more than once. It's just burned in my memory. But that's how it all works. And like I said, it does get a little complicated. So go back and just listen to this recording tomorrow, or even tonight if we get it up there, whenever it gets up there.
Okay.
All righty. Anybody else got any questions, comments?
Yeah, actually.
Real quick.
Hi, this is Melanie.
Hi there.
The calls haven't been put up, so I'm behind a little bit on the calls. I can't quite get on at 5. It's dinner time here, so I'm not sure where to find them.
Hey, Dover, could you kind of chime in and explain how she can get the archives? Because I
Absolutely.
know that she was saying that she wasn't able to get the last 2-3 weeks worth.
Okay, absolutely. So what you'll
The
want
last
to do,
2 calls are loading up right now.
Oh, they just weren't up there?
Okay.
Okay, I know where to find them. Okay.
Okay, well, I want Dover, if you will, just go through one more time, just in case anybody's on here that doesn't know how to get up on the recorded calls after the call. If you
absolutely.
just do that real quick, that would be helpful.
Yep, and what I'll do is I'll actually share the screen, and you can actually see how we do this here. So if you go to enrichinggifts.com, for those of you that are maybe new or have not or did not know that this was on the website, and you go to the tab that says About Us, you can go to Last Call, and this call that you're on right now will appear here. And then if you notice in the right corner here, there's 3 bars, and if you put your cursor on it, it says playlist education calls. When you click that, if you scroll down, you'll see, I don't know, 30-40 different calls from the last 30-40 weeks maybe. Actually, it goes back to April 15th. What a wonderful day that is. Beautiful day, tax day here in the States. April 15th of 2020. So yeah, that's where you find the calls, and you just click play. You can enlarge the screen and turn on your speaker on your phone or your iPad or laptop and enjoy it. So that's how you find it. Great question. And Roderick, and again, I want to just let me say this, and this is not an excuse by any means. We've had between Roderick and I with some challenges health-wise with COVID in our family. Yeah. And Roderick having some challenges on his side. We've been a little bit behind. So we're back. We're taking nourishment. We're good. We're on the mend, and so we'll make sure that that's updated and we're as we move forward. So appreciate everybody's understanding and patience there.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are feeling better. Sorry, I thought maybe I was missing something. Thank you.
No.
No.
No. Thank you for stepping out there. We appreciate you.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else have any last minute questions, comments? We'll take one more if there is one more. If otherwise, I'll just let Dover close out the call.
Hey, Ron, James
Great
here.
call, by the way. Hey, James.
Hi, I've got a couple of questions. The first question is, look, a lady, 34 years old, had a miscarriage after 7 weeks. We're unclear, obviously, what happened there. She's been taking digestive enzymes. Could you suggest a good supplement protocol to maybe address the nutrition element?
I can. You know, one of the things that I've been able to try to trace back to miscarriages, and it's just even my own daughter, Diana Harrison, what with her We had her on the infomercial too. She's out in Salt Lake City. Laura Lee Jessup and her daughter also, both of them had real hard problems getting pregnant. And I'm going to share something. It's a kind of a humorous story with you, but it's true. Way back when I first started enzymes, I was a private label manufacturer, and I actually found a real large company out of China. And her sister was out of Tokyo, Japan. Selena Chang and Sabrina Wei. Selena Chang married a Chinese gentleman out of Beijing, and Sabrina Wei married an archaeologist out of Tokyo, Japan. And they both decided that they wanted to get into this business, so they started to just ship huge, large amounts of enzyme powder and make it over there in their own things. Both of them women had really, really high problems with miscarriages or even getting pregnant. Sabrina from Tokyo, Mr. Ye, he lost 2 children through miscarriages. Selena Chang, Sabrina's sister, she never could get pregnant. And I'll never forget when I met with Mr. Chang over in China, I sit there and I says, how much are you going to pay me? I can guarantee you I can get your wife pregnant. Well, he thought I was literally going to have sex with her and get her pregnant by me. And I'm like, no. I said, what's it worth to you to get her pregnant? I said, I got a surefire way to get her pregnant. And it's not me involved personally at all. So that guy actually paid me $25,000 the day that his wife would carry a child and be born. And they did actually pay me $25,000. So here's the thing that I've told my daughter, I've told Sabrina, I've told Selena, Laura Lee Jessup, her daughter. I'll keep wanting to say Debbie, but it's not Debbie. I can't remember what, not Dolores. It starts with a D. Laura, what? No, Laura Lee's the mom, the daughter. Darlene. There, I knew it started with a D. See, and that's that extra, 2.7% that's not photo, or 7.3% that's not photographic memory. Darlene is her name. That's the daughter of Laura Lee Jessup. Anyway, all these people wanted to get pregnant. And Laura Lee, by the way, she's seen her daughter get pregnant, and she's already halfway, if not almost through menopause. She stopped having her period. She was in her 50s when she got pregnant. And the way I'm going to tell you right now, you take the digestive enzymes, just like James said. This is really important. Even though you start taking the blue-green algae or the red algae or some kind of a spirulina, some kind of an algae-based product, whether it's hydroponic and man-made or whether it's harvested out of Klamath Lake, or just go in and buy the kombucha, I think is the brand name. And it's just a powdered algae. But for some reason, algae has in fact, I know the reason. Algae, just so everybody knows, if you took a pound of algae and compared it to a pound of any other protein on the planet Earth, there's more nutrition in that pound of algae than any other food source on the planet Earth. And what does all protein have? Amino acids. So these people that have these miscarriages and a lot of times deformed babies and complicated pregnancies, it's because they're not getting the amino acids to actually activate the form and make the baby's tissue. So, and my daughter, she'd taken several different hormone shots trying to get pregnant and this and that, and just went through hell for about 3 years. And I told her, and I remember because it was just before Thanksgiving. It was about 2 months, maybe 6 weeks before she came home for Thanksgiving a few years ago, and she was actually pregnant. And then she miscarried on the plane as she was flying from Texas home to Montana for Thanksgiving. And, but anyways, so that was kind of a heartbreak for her, but I still have a grandson, and she carried a normal pregnancy and stuff, but they did it in vitro. But every single person that's ever even had algae has been able to get pregnant and carry a full pregnancy with it. Now, she may have carried it had she not been on the algae, I don't know, but I had to stay on it. I said it will only help you, and she had a perfect grandson, Corbin. And Laura Lee Jessup, when she saw Darlene get pregnant, have her baby, she started the enzymes and that aloe and that doggone algae. She got pregnant and had another baby at 52 years old. I don't know why anybody would ever want another baby at 52, but she just had to have another baby. So, and Sabrina, and Selena, they both had their babies. And Mr. Chang, he good to his word. He gave me the 25 grand for helping his wife get pregnant and have a healthy baby. But that's what I would do, James.
Okay.
Get some really good blue-green algae. Don't be afraid to take a couple tablespoons a day. Mix it in with some grape juice or orange juice. It deadens that real strong algae seafood taste to it. But that's the way you get pregnant, and that's the way you have a healthy baby. I've never had a birth defect baby, and I can think of probably off the top of my head, maybe 35, 37 people that I've suggested this to, and every single one of them had a healthy baby without any kind of issues.
Okay, so are you suggesting get some powder from health food store, or can we use the red algae?
No, they're not. You'd have to be taking way more than 6 capsules in order to have. Like I said, you're going to want to take probably about a tablespoon of this stuff in the morning, and maybe another tablespoon in the evening. At least 1 tablespoon, which is pretty close to about 1.5 ounces. You have a heaping tablespoon. You'd be taking 10, 15 algae capsules to get a heaping tablespoon of algae. So that's not a really good source. But I'm going to tell you, any algae, Hawaiian red, cyanotech, aquasearch, blue-green algae from Klamath Lake, any algae is going to work.
Okay.
Because it's just got that really high density amino acid and nutrition profile to it.
Great. Okay. And look, the second question, which is the same lady we're talking about, she previously had blood tests that identified some heavy metals, and it identifies that she was particularly high in silver. So what I'm confused on is the silver heavy metal, is that different from colloidal silver? Like, are we talking about the same sort of?
Yeah, it's a huge difference, because always remember, gold, silver, those are elemental minerals. Zinc, they're very, very hard for the human body to break down, digest, and use at a cellular function. Like, for example, you can't make a white blood cell or even a red blood cell without iron. You can't make a functional red blood cell, meaning its ability to carry oxygen from the lungs and distribute it throughout the body, without iron in the membrane of that red blood cell. Iron is the magnet that holds the oxygen to the cell membrane, the red blood cell membrane, as it moves from the lungs, captures the oxygen and distributes it through the rest of the body. But those are elemental minerals, so it's really important that they're ionized through acid exposure. And that's what the hydrochloric acid in the digestive system does. It literally exposes those elemental minerals and breaks them down into a single ion, which is the smallest size any molecule can be broken down to without losing the property and splitting the actual molecular structure. So that's what hydrochloric acid does in the digestive process for our body, is it ionizes or breaks a elemental mineral down to a single ion molecule. And that's the only size that the human cell can actually really use with any heavy metal. And it's only regarded as a heavy metal when it cannot be ionized, when it circulates as a metabolite. Mm-hmm. Then it's regarded as a heavy metal because it's in its elemental form, which means it's non-cellular usable. So it's toxic to the body, because it'll eventually settle out into the tissue. Like poorly made colloidal silvers, most of them are almost elemental. They're enough to get absorbed, but not cellularly metabolized. So they settle out in the tissue, creating a ghost, that's called the ghost bluing effect, like the blue man on Oprah Winfrey. You're not going to die from it, but it completely changes your pigmentation to a gray blue, from a white to a tan. It turns gray blue, and that's because it accumulates within the tissues, changing the pigmentation.
Okay.
So did that help you a little bit? Kind of explain the two differences?
Yep, that's great. Appreciate it.
Okay, great. Okay, good. All right, Dover, I guess we'll close up the call for tonight. Great call. Good questions all the way through, so I'm real happy with that. And thanks, everybody, for coming on to these calls each and every week. And, if you found this informative and beneficial in any way, shape, or form, please just invite other people on here. You notice I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm really straight up and forward with honest, like with Linda with the whole teeth issue. you know, the supplements I have, all they're going to do is help strengthen whatever your genetics allow. They're not going to give you great looking teeth. Just not going to lie to people and say they will when they won't. So if you know people, reach out, bring them on these calls. That's what we're here for each and every week. Help everyone get the best life for whatever genetic and inherited factors they have. It is possible.
Absolutely, Ron. And again, thank you, Ron. A fantastic call. Man, I learned something every week. So just appreciate you taking the time with us. And I can go on about ALOE, and I won't take this any more time tonight, but I wish we had the time. So maybe for another call. But thank you again. Appreciate you. Everyone have a great night. We'll be back here next week discussing another product. Ron, what will we be covering next week?
Well, I think if I remember correctly, we covered everything, because I'm not going to go into the amino acid product because it looks like that's going to be discontinued. We only had it around a couple of years, but I didn't even sell but just barely half of the quantity. So that's just going to have to sit on the back burner as a formula until we get a much larger consumer base in the company. So the only thing I have left to go into then is the colloidal silver. And so next week we'll be talking about the colloidal silver.
Awesome.
And why that's so important is make sure that it's in an ionized form, not just colloidal form. And I'm going to definitely explain the two differences. And I encourage people, somebody on the call have a Webster's dictionary and a biological reference guide to earthly elements. Because you're going to see in there firsthand for yourself. Look up the word colloid and the word colloidal. It's going to be a fascinating call next week. Again, it's going to blow your mind. How would you think the Princess cruise ship in the Atlantic Ocean could be compared to something that you're trying to put in your body to use in a functioning cellular state? That's how crazy it's going to blow your mind. So we'll get into that next week.
Hey, Ron, could you repeat those references? Webster's dictionary?
Yeah, the Webster's dictionary, and then the biological, the earth, how I said it, biological reference guide to earthly elements. There you go.
Okay.
And there's a biological reference to all earthly elements, gold, silver, aluminum, whatever, all of that. Even the gases, the noble gases, all of that stuff. I have it at home in my basement because I used it over in Billings, Montana when I went after Joel Wallach, and the whole word colloidal minerals. It is ionic minerals. And even though I have colloidal silver or ionic silver or whatever's lightning silver, I think is the actual label that we actually have, on the back in the ingredient list, you're going to see the term minerals. 9 billion singly formed ionic minerals makes up our colloidal silver product.
Ron.
Yeah.
Ron, I got to cut you off.
Yeah.
Give them something to come back for. I just want everybody to know.
Yeah,
hey,
I know. I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done.
Everyone, the last 2 weeks calls are up, just so everybody knows. For Melanie and the rest of the family here, just go to Enriching Gifts, last calls, and then that catalog of calls, they're there for you right now. We'll get this one up too. So everyone have a great night, and we will see you next week. This call's a wrap. Take care, everybody. Thanks again, Ron.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. All right.